She couldn't speak. He couldn't hear. But the crumpled note she slipped into his pocket said it all. Please don't let me go back home. He'll hurt me again. But the old motorcyclist didn't read the note immediately. And when he finally opened it, it was too late to avoid what was coming. Because while he was folding that paper with trembling hands, a black car stopped on the other side of the road, and someone got out. Someone she recognized, and the panic in her eyes said it all. If you believe there are people willing to protect those who have no voice, sign up now. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching this story from? Let's go through it together. The road was a straight line cutting through nothing. Desert on one side, dead lampposts on the other. The gas station was the only light for miles, and even then, it seemed to have given up on existing. The pumps were old. The paint was peeling. The smell of burnt oil clung to the air. He parked his motorcycle, slowly as he always did. 68 years old. Deaf since he was 23. Mine accident. Explosion. Eternal silence ever since. He didn't use a hearing aid. He said that silence was more honest than most voices. He took off his helmet. He ran a hand through his grey hair matted with sweat. It was midnight. He was tired. He just wanted to refuel, eat something hot, and keep going. 200 more kilometers to Flagstaff. Sleep in a cheap motel. Wake up with the sun. Continue. But then he saw her, sitting on the floor, leaning against the cracked brick wall of the gas station. Knees bent to her chest, hood covering half her face, torn sneakers, old backpack beside her. She wasn't crying. She wasn't looking at anything, just existing, as if waiting was all that remained. He walked past her. He went into the gas station. He bought coffee, 2 hot dogs. He paid in cash. The attendant said something. He nodded, not understanding. He went back outside. She was still there. He stopped. He looked at her. She slowly lifted her face. Sunken eyes, a bruise under her left eye, cracked lip. But that wasn't what caught his attention. It was the way she held her own arm, as if she were preventing herself from disappearing. He opened the wrapper for the second hot dog. He held it out to her. She looked at it. She didn't take it. He left it on the ground, near her. He walked away. He sat on the curb with his back to her, drinking his hot coffee. 5 minutes later, he felt something touch his shoulder. He turned around. She was standing, holding a crumpled piece of paper. She held it out to him, looked down, took 3 steps back. He picked up the paper. He unfolded it slowly. The handwriting was thin, shaky, almost childlike. Please don't let me go back home. He'll hurt me again. I can't speak. My throat doesn't work when he's near, but if you leave me here, he'll find me. Please. When he looked up, she was already crying silently. And then, headlights turned on from the other side of the road. The car was a gray sedan. Old, dented on the right side, tinted windows. The engine rumbled softly, like an animal waiting for the right moment. She froze. Her whole body froze. Her hands began to tremble. She took a step back. Another. Her back slammed against the gas station wall. Her eyes remained fixed on the car. He looked at her, then at the car, then at the paper in his hand. He read it again. He looked at the bruise on her face, at the way she held her own arm, at the pure fear etched in her eyes. He didn't need to hear anything. He didn't need context. He knew enough. She folded the paper, put it in her pocket. She stood up slowly, turned to face the car, crossed her arms. She stood still, like a wall of flesh and leather between herself and whatever was on the other side of those headlights. The car didn't move. It just waited, watching. She was breathing too fast, gasping for air. He didn't look back, but he lowered one hand slowly and made a simple gesture. Come closer. She hesitated. She took a step, then another. She stood beside him, so close that he could feel the tremor in her body. even without touching her. The car remained there. 30 seconds, a minute. Then, slowly, it reversed. It left the parking lot. It disappeared into the darkness of the road. She released the air she had been holding. Her legs gave way. She fell to her knees. She covered her face with her hands. She made no sound, but her whole body was shaking. He crouched down beside her. He didn't touch her. He just stood there, waiting. Until she lifted her head. When she did that, her eyes met his, and something passed between them, something that didn't need words, or hearing, or a voice. It was recognition. She knew he was deaf. She had noticed it from the way he ignored the attendant, how he didn't react to the noise of the car, how he read her lips when she tried to say thank you but couldn't. And he knew she couldn't speak. Not because she didn't want to, but because something inside her had been broken so long ago that her voice had given up on coming out. Two kinds of silence, side by side. He took a small notepad from his pocket, a pen. He wrote, "Do you have a safe place?" She shook her head. "No." He wrote again, "So you're coming with me. For today. We'll think about it tomorrow." She looked at him, at the motorcycle, at the empty road, at the nothingness that awaited her if she said no. And he nodded yes. But while he was putting the notepad away, she saw something in the gas station's rearview mirror. The gray car, back, stopped, now with its lights off, waiting. They drove off in silence. She followed him, clinging too tightly to his leather jacket, as if she let go, she would fall forever. The wind cut across her face, cold, brutal, but she didn't care. For the first time in months, she wasn't standing still. She wasn't waiting. She was moving, and that was enough. 40 minutes later, he left the main highway. He took a back road. Dust, rocks, no lights. He stopped in front of an old trailer half hidden among dry trees and accumulated trash. He turned off the motorcycle. He got off. He signaled for her to do the same. She got out. Her legs were numb. He opened the trailer door. He turned on a dim light. Inside it was small, clean, organized, smelled of stale coffee and tobacco. A narrow bed, a table, 2 chairs, a gas stove. He pointed to the bed, then to her. He sat down in the chair. She shook her head. She wasn't going to sleep, not yet. She sat down in the other chair. He picked up the notepad again. He wrote, "What's your name?" She picked up the pen. She wrote slowly, "Riley." He nodded. He wrote, "I'm Frank, 68, deaf, former miner. I've been traveling alone for 15 years. She read it. She looked at it. She wrote, "Why did you stop?" He didn't answer immediately. He looked away, at the dirty window, at the darkness outside. Then he wrote, "Because I was abandoned once too, and nobody stopped me." She read it. She felt a tightening in her chest. She wrote, "He's my stepfather. My mother doesn't believe me. She says I lie, that I make things up. He never hits me in public, only where nobody sees, and he whispers in my ear. He says that if I tell, he'll hurt her. So I stopped talking. It's been 2 years. I ran away today. He found me at the gas station. But you were there." Frank read it. He read it again. He closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He wrote, "How old are you?" 15. He dropped his pen. He ran his hand over his face. He stood up. He went to the window. He stood staring out at nothing. Riley waited. Then he went back. He picked up the pen. He wrote forcefully, almost tearing the paper. "He won't touch you again." She read it. She felt something rise in her throat. It wasn't tears. It was relief, pure and heavy. But then they both heard, or rather, Frank didn't hear it, but Riley did. The sound of tires on. Gravel. Outside, too close. She looked at him, her eyes wide. Frank understood even before he saw. He grabbed a key from under the table. He opened a cupboard. He took out an old shotgun, and he waited. The door wasn't broken down. It was knocked on 3 times. Hard, methodically. Frank stood still, rifle at his side. Riley was frozen in her chair, hands clutching her knees. 3 more knocks. Frank looked at her. He gestured. "Be quiet." She nodded. He opened the door slowly. Just a crack. On. The other side was a man, in his early 40s, white t-shirt, dirty jeans, unshaven, deep-set eyes but alert, dangerously calm. He didn't yell, he didn't push, he just spoke. And Frank read his lips perfectly. "My daughter is in there." Frank didn't answer. He didn't move. The man continued. "She runs away. She does it all the time. She has problems, mental health issues. She doesn't take her medication. She makes up stories. Her mother is desperate. I just want to take her home. For her safety." Frank hasn't responded yet. The man tilted his head. He tried to look inside the trailer. Frank blocked his view. "Listen, man, I don't want any trouble. You seem like a good guy. But she's underage, and if you don't hand her over to me now, I'll have to call the police. And then it'll be worse. For you." Frank finally moved. He picked up the notepad. He wrote, "She doesn't want to go." He showed it to the man. The man read. He laughed. A short, humorless laugh. "She doesn't want to? She's 15 years old. She doesn't decide anything." Frank wrote again. "She's afraid of you." The man stopped laughing. His face hardened. "So she told you her lies? Great. Look, I understand. She's convincing. But I'm her father, man. I've taken care of her since her biological father disappeared. I pay the bills. I put food on the table. And you? Who are you? A deaf old man with a motorcycle? What do you think you're going to protect her from?" Frank didn't write anything. He just held the door. The man took a step forward, closer. "I'm going to count to 3. Either you hand her over or I'm coming in." Frank raised the shotgun. Slowly, he pointed it at the ground, but the message was clear. The man stopped. He looked at the gun, at Frank, then he smiled. A cold smile. "Okay, so that's how it is." He stepped back. He opened his arms. "Fine, buddy. You win. For today. But she's a minor, and I have rights. And tomorrow morning, I'm coming back with the police, and with documents. And you're going to have to explain why you kidnapped a teenage girl." He took 2 more steps back. He got into the car. He started the engine. Before leaving, he shouted out the window, "Riley, baby, I love you. Mommy loves you. We just want you to come home." The car drove off, slowly, as if it had all the time in the world. Frank closed the door. He locked it. He turned around. Riley stood there, trembling. Not from fear, from anger. She picked up the notepad. She wrote with such force that she tore the paper. "He lied. He's not my father. He doesn't love me. He hurts me." Frank read it. He nodded. He wrote, "I know." And then he wrote more. "But he's right about one thing. He's coming back tomorrow, and it's going to be worse. We need a plan." Riley looked at him, then at the door, then at nothing. Because for the first time she realized running away wouldn't be enough. Frank didn't sleep. He sat in the chair, rifle in his lap, eyes fixed on the door. Riley ended up collapsing. On the bed, too exhausted to fight off sleep. As the sun began to crack the horizon, she woke up. She looked at him. He was still there, exactly in the same position. She stood up. She picked up the notepad. "What do we do?" Frank looked at her. He took a while to reply. He wrote, "I can take you far away, another city, another state. But he'll come looking for you. And if he has documents, if his name is on the papers, the law will be on his side, not yours." Riley felt her stomach churn. She wrote, "So I lost." Frank shook his head. He wrote, "No, but we need help. I have friends, the club. They know how to handle this." Riley stopped. She looked at him. Club. He nodded. He wrote, motorcyclists, people I've known for 30 years, people who have saved children before, but... He stopped writing. He looked into the distance. Riley picked up the pen. But what? He wrote slowly, they're not saints, and if they get involved, there will be consequences. For him, for you, for me, and I don't know if you want that. Riley read, thought, wrote, I just don't want him to find me again. Ever again. Frank read it. He took a deep breath. He nodded. He picked up his old cell phone. He typed a message. He sent it. 5 minutes later, he received a reply. He showed Riley. The club will arrive in 2 hours. Stay where you are. Riley swallowed hard. He nodded. But then Frank wrote one more thing. Riley, if you tell me to take you away now, without the club, without anything, I will. The choice is yours, but know this. If we run away alone, it'll just be you and me against the world. And I'm old, and you're young, and eventually, we lose. Riley looked at him, at his hands, scarred, by years, by weight. She wrote, I trust you. He read. He felt a tightening in his chest, something he hadn't felt in a long time, responsibility, and then far away Riley heard, sirens. Frank didn't hear, but he saw her face change, and he understood. The stepfather didn't. Wait until tomorrow. He had already called the police, and they were coming. 2 vehicles stopped in front of the trailer, lights flashing. No sirens now, just heavy silence. Frank stood up. Riley froze. He wrote quickly, stay calm. Don't speak, just show it. He took the ticket she had given him at the gas station. Folded, crumpled. He held it in her hand. If they ask, show them. You don't need to talk, okay? She nodded. Her hands were trembling. Knocking on the door. Frank opened it. 2 policemen. One older, with a protruding belly and a grey mustache. The other younger, thin, with tired eyes. The older one spoke. Frank read his lips. Sir, we received a call. A man said his daughter is here. She's a minor, a runaway. He wants her back. We need to go in. Frank didn't move. He wrote in his notebook. She's here, but she's afraid of him. She ran away for a reason. He showed it. The older policeman read. He sighed. He looked at the younger one. Mike, go get her. The youngest one came in. He saw Riley sitting on the bed, hugging her knees. He stopped. He looked at her. He looked at the bruise on her eye. Hey, are you Riley? She didn't answer. She just looked. Your stepfather is worried. He said you have problems, that you run away a lot. He just wants to take you home. Everything's fine. You're not in danger. Riley shook her head. No. She held out the note. Crumpled. With shaky handwriting. The policeman took it. He read it. Please don't let me go back home. He'll hurt me again. He read it again. He looked at her, at Frank, at the older policeman. Boss, I think we need to talk to her before handing it over. The older one came in too. He read the note. He looked at Riley. Daughter, these are serious accusations. Do you have any proof? Riley simply lifted her shirt. On her back, several marks. Purple. Red. Some old, some new. The 2 police officers remained silent. The youngest spoke softly. Boss, this isn't right. The older one rubbed his face. He thought, look, girl, I understand. But the law is clear. You're a minor. He has custody. We can't just ignore that. What we can do is open an investigation, but until then, we have to take you back. Riley started to cry. No sound, just tears streaming down her face. Frank stepped forward. He wrote quickly. She won't. Not while I'm alive. The older policeman read it. He looked at it. Sir, I respect what you're trying to do, but this isn't right. If you interfere, I'll have to arrest you, and then she'll be alone anyway. Frank didn't move. The younger police officer approached Riley. Come on, girl, we'll protect you, I promise. Riley looked at Frank, then at the police officers. She knew. They couldn't promise anything. And then outside something else happened. The sound of engines. Several. The older policeman looked out the window. He froze. What the hell? 7 motorcycles, stopping in a semicircle around the police cars, men descending, leather jackets, patches. On their shoulders, heavy silence. Frank looked out the window. He recognized the leader. Big Tom, 65 years old, 2 meters tall, scar on his face. Frank's best friend for 30 years. Tom looked at the trailer, at the vehicles, at the police officers, and then he shouted, Frank, are you okay? Frank left. He nodded yes. Tom looked at the police officers. What's the problem, officers? The older man swallowed hard. He knew the club. Everyone knew it. They weren't illegal. But they weren't easy either. No problem, just resolving a family situation. Tom looked at Riley, at the purple mark on her eye, at the fear in her body, and he understood everything. So does family situation involve hitting a child? The police officer did not respond. Tom stepped forward. Are you going to take her back to whoever did this? Silence, and then the stepfather appeared, from his own car parked further back. She is my daughter. I have rights. Tom turned slowly. He looked at him, and she smiled. But it wasn't a good smile. It was the kind of smile that said, you made a mistake and now it's too late. Big Tom didn't yell. He didn't need to. He walked slowly toward his stepfather, each step heavy as concrete. The other 6 bikers stood still, just watching, waiting. The stepfather tried to maintain his composure, chin up, chest puffed out, but his hands were trembling. I don't know who you think you are, but that's none of your business. She's a minor. I'm her legal guardian. And these officers here will make sure she goes back home, where she belongs. Tom stopped half a meter from him. He tilted his head. He looked at him as one looks at an insect. Legal guardian, I understand. He looked at the police officers. And you? Are you going to hand an injured child back to the person who injured them? The older police officer stepped forward. Sir, we will investigate, but without concrete evidence, without a court order, we simply cannot. Evidence? Tom interrupted. Did you see her back? The younger policeman lowered his head. The older one remained silent. Tom went back to his stepfather. What's your name? That doesn't matter. It matters to me. Silence. Derek Holloway. Tom nodded. He memorized the name. Derek. I'll give you a chance. 1, you get in your car. You drive away. You forget she exists. And we forget you exist. Everyone moves on. Derek laughed, nervously. Or what? Are you going to beat me up? In front of the police? Are you going to kill me? Good luck with that. Tom didn't answer. He just looked at the police officers. Are you going to arrest us if we don't do anything illegal? The older police officer hesitated. No. But, great. Tom looked back at Derek. So here's what's going to happen. You're leaving here, now. And if you come back, if you try anything, we're going to find you. And there won't be any police to protect you. Derek looked around. At the bikers, at the motorcycles, at the, impassive faces. He wasn't stupid. He knew when he was at a disadvantage, but I also knew one thing. She's still my daughter, legally, and you can't stop me forever. Tom smiled again. That cold smile. You're right. We can't. But we can guarantee you'll never sleep peacefully again. Derek swallowed hard. He looked at Riley, still inside the trailer. Riley, baby, please, I love you. We can work this out. You know I never meant to hurt you. Riley didn't answer. She just looked at him. And for The first time he saw something different in her eyes. It wasn't fear, it was disgusting. Derek realized it. He felt something crack inside him. Not regret. Control. He was losing control, and he hated it. He got into the car. He slammed the door shut. He started the engine. But before driving off, he rolled down the window. This is not over. And he left. The police officers stood there, not knowing what to do. Tom looked at them. Are you going to investigate or not? The youngest one spoke. Let's go, but it will take time. And until then, legally, he still has custody. So what do you suggest? The older one sighed. Social services, temporary shelter, until the investigation is complete. Riley stepped out of the trailer. He looked at Frank. He picked up the notepad. He wrote, "No shelter, please. I'd rather stay on the street." Frank read. He looked at Tom. Tom understood. She's staying with us. The police officer shook his head. I can't authorize that. You're not family. You don't have custody. What if something happens to her while she's with you? Nothing will happen to her. You can't guarantee that. Tom took a step forward. He looked deep into the policeman's eyes. I guarantee it with my life. Silence. The younger police officer looked at Riley, at Frank, at Tom, and then he did something he shouldn't have done. He turned to the older man and said softly, "Boss, we know what will happen if she comes back. We know." The older man closed his eyes. He thought. He took a deep breath. She looked at Tom. 24 hours. After that, we'll come back, with social services, and then she'll have to go into the system. Understood? Tom nodded. Understood. The police officers got into their patrol cars. They drove off slowly. When the sound of the engines faded, Tom looked at Frank. 24 hours. What do we do in 24 hours? Frank picked up the notepad. He wrote, "We'll find her mother." The house was small, old, peeling paint, tall, grass. A broken window covered with cardboard. The kind of place where people gave up on living a long time ago. Frank, Tom, and 3 other bikers parked their motorcycles 2 blocks away. Riley stayed with the other 2, waiting at a diner on the other side of town. Tom knocked on the door 3 times, firmly. No one answered. It hit again. Then a muffled voice from the other end. Who is it? Police. Tom lied, without hesitation. The door opened a crack. A woman, in her early 30s, looking 50, dirty hair, sunken eyes, smelling of cigarettes and alcohol. She looked at Tom, at the others. She froze. You are not the police. No, we're not. Tom pushed the door open. He went in. The others followed. Frank stayed behind, watching. The woman stepped back. She tripped over a pile of old newspapers. She fell back onto the torn sofa. What do you want? I didn't do anything. I don't owe anything. Tom stopped in front of her. He looked around. Empty beer cans, full ashtrays, clothes scattered about, and in the corner a framed photo. Riley, younger, smiling. He took the photo. He showed it to the woman. Is this your daughter? The woman looked. She swallowed hard. Yes, Riley. She ran away, again. Derek is looking for her. If you know where she is, we know. Tom put the photo back, and she's not coming back. The woman blinked. What? But she needs to come back. She's a minor. She can't stay out there alone. She needs us. Tom crouched down in front of her. He looked deep into her eyes. She doesn't need you. She needs you to believe in her. Silence. The woman looked away. I don't know what you're talking about. You know? You've always known. She shook her head. Too fast. Derek would never hurt her. He takes care of her. He takes care of me. He pays the bills. He hits her. Tom interrupted. You know that. You saw it. You saw the marks. You heard her crying at night. and you pretended it was nothing." The woman began to cry. But it wasn't a cry of pain. It was a cry of guilt. I couldn't do anything. If I confronted him, he would leave, and I can't live alone. I can't pay rent. I need him." Tom stood up. He looked at her with a mixture of pity and disgust. "You chose him instead of your daughter. That's not how it was. I tried to believe her, but she was always difficult, always making things up, always wanting attention. And Derek said she had mental problems, that she needed medication, and You believed him," Tom finished the sentence, "because it was easier." The woman covered her face with her hands. Frank picked up the notepad. He wrote. He showed it to Tom. Tom read it. He looked back at the woman. "Frank wants to know, are you able to sign a document relinquishing custody of Riley?" The woman raised her head, her eyes wide. "What? No, I can't do that. Derek would never let me. He'll be furious. He's not going to do anything," Tom interrupted. "Because if he tries, we guarantee he won't have any hands left to do anything." She trembled. She looked at the men around her, at their leather jackets, at their impassive faces. I need to think. You don't have time." Tom took a sheet of paper from his pocket. A pre-filled form. "Sign here. Now. But what if I regret it? You're not going." "How do you know?" Tom looked at her with a coldness that froze the air. "Because if you regret it, we'll come back and tell everyone in this town what you let happen to your daughter." She choked. She picked up the pen with a trembling hand. She looked at the paper, at the line where she was supposed to sign. "She will hate me forever." "She already hates you," Tom said without hesitation. "But at least now she'll be safe." The woman signed, quickly, as if she wanted to get it over with as soon as possible. Tom picked up the paper. He folded it. He put it away. One last thing. He turned before leaving. "If Derek comes here and asks where we took her, you don't know, understand?" She nodded. They left. When the motorcycles started, Frank looked at Tom. Tom showed the signed document. "Now she is legally free." Frank nodded, but something still weighed on him, because even with the papers signed, Derek wasn't going to give up, and everyone knew it. They went back to the diner. Riley was sitting in the corner, stirring a milkshake without drinking it. Her eyes were distant. When she saw Frank come in, she looked up. He sat down in front of her. Tom sat beside her. He picked up the notepad. "Your mother signed it. You are free." Riley read it again, looked at it, at Tom, back to the paper. She should feel relieved, but he didn't feel it. He picked up the pen. He wrote, "She signed because she wants me to leave, not because she loves me." Frank read it. He didn't know what to answer. Tom put his hand on his shoulder. He looked at Riley. "Sometimes, girl, love isn't enough. And sometimes, the one who truly loves you isn't the one you were born with. It's the one you choose to stay." Riley looked at him, then at Frank, and for the first time since it all began, she wrote, "And now, where do I go?" Frank looked at Tom. Tom looked back. None of them had an answer, because legally she was free from her mother, but Derek was still her stepfather, and technically they had joint custody. The paperwork only removed the mother from the equation. Derek could still fight, and he would fight. Tom took a deep breath. "We need a lawyer." Frank shook his head. He wrote, "We don't have the money for that." "Then we'll figure it out." Tom remained silent. He thought. And then Frank's phone vibrated. He looked. A message. Unknown number. "I know where you are. I know where she is. And tomorrow morning I'm going to get her, with a lawyer, with a warrant, and with the real police this time. And you won't be able to do anything." Frank showed it to Tom. Tom read it. He frowned. "Derek?" "Frank?" nodded. Riley saw their expressions. She picked up her phone. She read, and something broke inside her. She stood up. She grabbed her backpack. She started walking toward the door. Frank stood up. He held her arm, gently. She turned around. Her eyes filled with tears. She picked up the notepad. "I won't let you get hurt because of me. He'll destroy you, and I don't deserve that. I'm leaving, alone. It's better this way." Frank read it. He shook his head. He wrote, "No." She wrote back, "You can't save me, Frank. Nobody can." Frank read it. He felt a tightening in his chest, something old, something he had kept for years. He picked up the pen, and for the first time he wrote something he had never written for anyone. "I had a daughter. She was 15 years old, just like you. Her boyfriend beat her. I didn't know, she didn't tell me, and one day she disappeared. They found her body 2 weeks later, in a river, and I never forgave myself, because I didn't realize, because I didn't save her, but I can save you, and I won't fail again." Riley read it, read it again, looked at it, and then she collapsed. She fell to her knees, she covered her face, and for the first time in 2 years, she tried to speak. She forced her voice out, and it came out, broken, hoarse, almost inaudible. "I'm very sorry." Frank crouched down. He hugged her, and she clung to him as if he were the only real thing in the world. Tom looked away, because even he, who had seen it all, felt something tighten around him. But then from outside they heard engines, several of them, and they weren't motorcycles, they were cars. Frank stood up. He looked out the window. 5 cars, black, men getting out, suits, badges, federal. Tom looked. Shit. One of them went into the diner. He showed his badge. "Frank Morrison?" Frank nodded. "You are under investigation for kidnapping a minor. This girl will have to come with us, now." Riley looked at Frank, eyes wide, terrified. Frank looked at the agent, then at Tom, then at Riley, and for the first time, he didn't know what to do. The agent stepped forward. He looked at Riley. "Miss, you're safe now. We'll take you to a suitable place while this is sorted out." Riley shook her head. "No." She took a step back. She grabbed Frank's arm. The agent sighed. "Miss, I understand you're scared, but the man you know as Derek Holloway has filed a formal complaint. He alleges that you were taken against your will by this man." He pointed to Frank. "And that you're being held against your will." Tom stepped forward. "That's a lie. She ran away. He beat her. We have proof. Her mother signed a document relinquishing custody." The agent looked at him. "The document is not legally valid without the signatures of both parties responsible, and Derek Holloway did not sign. Therefore, he still has legal rights to it." "He has no right whatsoever," Tom exploded. "He's an abuser. So this needs to be proven in court. But until then, he is legally responsible, and we have orders to take her to a temporary foster home until this is resolved." Riley felt the ground disappear beneath her. She grabbed the notepad. She wrote quickly, desperately. "He'll meet me there. He'll take me back. Please, don't let this happen." He showed it to the agent. He read it. He looked at her, and for the first time his expression softened. "Miss, I have children, and I understand, but I can't simply ignore the law. What I can do is ensure you stay in a safe place under surveillance until the court decides, but you need to come with me." Riley looked at Frank. His eyes pleaded. Frank looked at her, at the agent, at Tom. He wanted to fight. He wanted to scream. He wanted to grab Riley and run away and never stop. But he knew. He was an old man, deaf, destitute, powerless, and if he fought now, he would lose her forever. He picked up the notepad. He wrote, "Riley, I promise, this isn't the end. We'll find a way. But now, you need to go. And trust." She read it, Tears were falling. He shook his head. No. But Frank held her hands. He looked deep into her eyes. And even without words, she understood. Sometimes fighting means retreating. Temporarily. She nodded. Slowly. She let go of his hand, and he walked over to the agent. When she walked out the door, Frank felt something crack inside him. Tom placed his hand on his shoulder. "We're not going to give up." Frank nodded, but he couldn't take his eyes off the door, because for the first time, he wasn't sure if he would see her again. 3 days later, Frank was sitting in the trailer, alone, staring into nothingness. He hadn't eaten properly. He hadn't slept. He just waited. I was hoping Tom would call. I was hoping for news from the lawyer they'd managed to pay with club funds. I was hoping for anything, but nothing came. And then, on the 4th day, the phone vibrated. A message. Unknown number. Frank opened it, and it froze. It was a photograph. Riley, in a room, sitting, on the bed, holding a piece of paper. On it, written by hand, "Help! He found me, please." Frank felt his blood run cold. He called Tom. Tom answered. He grabbed her. "What?" "Derek, he got her. I don't know how, but he sent a picture." Tom was quiet for a second. Then he said, "Where are you?" "No trailer. Stay here. We're leaving now." Frank hung up. He looked at the photo again, and then he saw something in the background of the image. A window. And outside, a sign. Blurred, but legible. Motel Sands, exit 47. Frank knew the place, 50 kilometers from there. He didn't wait for Tom. He grabbed the shotgun. He got on the motorcycle. And he left. The motel was a wasteland of concrete and faded neon lights. Only 3 cars were in the parking lot. One of them was Derek's gray sedan. Frank parked some distance away. He got off his motorcycle. He walked slowly, his shotgun hidden under his jacket. He stopped in front of room 12. The door was ajar. He pushed. He went in. Riley was sitting on the bed. Her hands were tied with duct tape. Her mouth was gagged. Her eyes were wide red from crying. Derek was standing on the other side of the room, drinking a beer, smiling. "Look who's here, the knight in shining armor." Frank didn't answer. He just looked at Riley. She shook her head desperately, trying to say something. Derek continued, "You know, man, I admired your courage. I really did. But you forgot one thing. I always win. Because I know how to play the game. I know how the system works. And you? You're just a deaf idiot with a hero complex." Frank stepped forward. Derek pointed to a gun on the table. A pistol. "Oh, I wouldn't do that, because if you come near, I'll grab that gun and I'll shoot her first. And then you. And then I'll call the police and say you broke in and tried to kill me, and guess what? Nobody will doubt it." Frank stopped. He looked at the gun, at Derek, at Riley. He thought. Derek took another sip. "You know, I could just leave, disappear, with her, start over in another state. But I wanted you to see. I wanted you to understand that you failed. Again." Frank felt something explode inside him. He pulled out his shotgun. He pointed it at Derek. Derek reeled. "Seriously? You're going to shoot me? In front of her? You want her to see this? You want her to carry this burden for the rest of her life?" Frank hesitated. Derek took a step toward the pistol. "You're not going to shoot, because you're a good man, and good men lose." But then, something happened. The door exploded. Tom went in, followed by 6 other bikers. Derek froze, his hand inches from the gun. Tom looked at him, then at Frank, then at Riley. "Let her go." Derek laughed nervously. "Or what?" Tom didn't answer. He just walked towards him, slowly. Derek took a step back. He hit the wall. "You can't do anything. I'm going to call the police. You're all going to be arrested." Tom stopped in front of him. He looked deep into his eyes. "The police won't arrive in Time. Derek swallowed hard. You won't hurt me. You're not like that. Tom smiled, that same cold smile he always had. You're right. I'm not going to hurt you. Derek relaxed for a second, and then Tom said, but I'll make sure you never touch her again. He picked up his cell phone. He called someone. He put it on speakerphone. Hello? It's me. Did you manage it? I did it. It's all here. Recordings, messages, photos, everything you asked for. Derek, pale. What is he talking about? Tom hung up. He looked at him. Remember Riley's mother? The woman you manipulated for years. She recorded everything, every threat, every lie. Every time you hit Riley and told her it was her fault. Everything. Derek shook his head. She would never do that. She did it. Because we promised to protect her, too. Derek felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. Tom continued. These recordings are already with a prosecutor, and with the media, and tomorrow morning, Derek Holloway's name will be in every newspaper in this region, and you're going to be arrested, and you're going to stay in jail for a long time. Derek fell to his knees. No, please. Tom turned around. He walked over to Riley. He cut the ribbon. He set her free. She stood up. She looked at Derek, and for the first time she spoke. Her voice was broken, but real. I hate you. Derek looked at her, and for the first time he realized he had lost, completely. 6 months later, Riley was sitting on a bench in a roadside diner. Chocolate ice cream melted in her bowl. Frank sat beside her drinking black coffee. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. Derek had been convicted. 8 years. Abuse, false imprisonment, threats. Riley's mother went to rehab. And Riley was temporarily placed in the custody of a foster family. But Frank visited, every week, without fail. And on that day he had something to show. He picked up an envelope. He handed it to her. She opened it. She read it. Adoption papers, temporary. But it was a start. She looked at him. Her eyes were filled with tears. You want to adopt me? Frank nodded. He picked up the notepad. He wrote, only if you want to. She read it, and for the first time in a long time she smiled. A genuine smile. I want. She hugged him tightly, and he hugged her back. But when they parted ways, she picked up the pen. She wrote something. I still have nightmares. I'm still scared. And I don't know if it will ever go away. Frank read it. He wrote back, it doesn't have to pass. It just needs to hurt less each day. She read it. She nodded. They finished their ice cream. They got on the motorcycle. They hit the road. And as the sun set, Riley looked back. To where she had come from. To everything that had survived. And then he looked ahead. Where was I going? And for the first time he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. Not the hope that everything would be all right. But there was hope that, perhaps, just perhaps, she would manage to survive. And sometimes, that was enough. Most people will close this now and forget about it in 10 minutes. But you are not the majority. Like if this mattered, subscribe to the channel right now if you want more raw truth. Comment, I watched until the end, because few people make it this far. The next video is waiting. Do you have the courage?